explore everything because everything is related and connected to everything else. And today I have the lovely Carrie on, a dear friend of mine. And we actually haven't spoken in a good long time, and she does not know the questions. And so this is going to be fun for her to just pop in and share her fascinating life and wisdom and insight. So welcome, Carrie.
Thank you for having me. I am excited to see your face and also to see where this takes us.
Okay, I'm excited. Okay, question number 1. What did I learn way too late?
Ooh. I mean, I'm a woman of 50 plus, and I really have just recently learned that I'm valuable as a I think not valuable wouldn't be my word. I've learned that I'm beautiful in ways that I never did before. I never, as a 19-year-old, probably, lovely young lady, I didn't have those thoughts. I never looked at myself in the mirror and thought, I'm okay. I feel good about how I can walk into a room and have confidence. I never had that before. And whether that is just my own feeling of, it's not even physical beauty. It's more like this thing from the inside that makes me feel valuable. So here I am in a circle all of a sudden talking, because I wasn't obviously prepared for that question. But I think, I look at myself now and I'm like, I can walk in with confidence, and I've never had that before. Even though I faked it a lot, I think I finally have melded into that person who I don't have to fake it anymore.
I love that.
Yeah. Does that sound? I don't know.
Yeah, be that. Well, and what I would say is I like that you started out, you immediately said that you're valuable. And then you kind of dropped that word and went around, like you said, a little bit in a circle and came back to value, like that you have value as you are, who you are. And I think that's I think that's an enormous lesson everybody would rightfully learn.
Yeah.
To walk into a room and know they have value.
And if I could talk people into that, regardless of where they are or what they, it would just be step back and realize what you do offer, right? Like what people need from you as far as our purpose or whatever, however you define that, regardless of where you are in life and what you bring to the table as, accomplishments and or the whole package. Anyway, we have female friends that we sometimes don't necessarily know what to say to them. And that's just like, you have value and you have a purpose. And there's a reason why we get to be 50 plus years old and wise and maybe, not look the way that we ever expected, but, be more beautiful than we ever expected to, right?
Okay, so I have a question about that.
Yeah.
In a society where looks are given so much attention, would you trade this sort of inner knowing of your own value for any look you had at any other time in your youth? Would you trade it?
No, I would rather give my younger self some of that confidence, I think. Wouldn't trade it. I mean, no. I didn't mean to go into, it's not even, at least I did. I always went, oh, I'm too fat. Oh, I need to lose 20 pounds. Oh, I need to lose 20 pounds. And then I look at myself, how I looked back then. I'm like, come on, girl. And now I look at myself and I'm like, I could probably lose 40 pounds, but I love it. Like I'm not trying to. I'm not on a funky diet. I'm not on a funky exercise regime. I'm curvy and it's whatever. Yeah. So I think the value, it just more like this, and you know a lot. I don't, you know, some of the stuff that I went through, but I was married for like 27 years. My husband never said, "Oh, you take my breath away," or "Oh, you make me feel good," or "Oh, what a," any compliments ever. I was fishing for like the bottom of the barrel for anything. So that was part of it, right? And being, a kid in the 80s and 90s, a little with the parents that at least I had, we just never were told, we never were, we just you go through that period where you think that you have to be a certain size and look a certain way, and you're trying to get it from everyone. But you realize it doesn't matter.
So I have a question for you about the value piece, because that's definitely something I can feel myself stepping more and more into that space where I know my value, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
a little bit of a dance for me. There are definitely times where I don't feel like I have anything of value to share. So this would be my question. I'm assuming, I don't know this, but I'm assuming when I kind of really get into that place where I have no doubt about my value, that two things will happen. One, I won't be looking for anyone else to actually tell me that I have it.
Mm-hmm.
And two, I'll probably get more of it.
Right. Right.
Has that been your experience?
I
Is that
mean, yeah, I think in retrospect, I'll look at some of the things that I've maybe brought up and think, why did I bring that? Why did I go there? But you're exactly right, Shelley. It's nobody else is giving us that now, so we definitely are. I know it's not even being it's not coming from a place of that the confidence piece is coming from a place of knowing and of realizing that it's not, we make it way too difficult on ourselves. um
can you say,
in the
I
way
don't, can you explain what you just said? Like, say more about we make it too difficult on ourselves. What do you mean? I want to understand.
um I think our expectations of what a day looks like, or what an accomplishment looks like, or of what even our value and looks like, most of that is coming from internally, right? We're doing that to ourselves, and so we're our own worst critic in that way. And we are, when we kind of change the perspective and change the matrix as far as what's important and how we can, I know now I'm talking in circles.
Circles are good.
Yeah. I obviously our perspective sort of changes, and I've been watching, like, just really stupid. I told you that we have some fires at our home, so we've been on fire watch. So we were at home on fire watch for like 3 days, and it's hot, and we were tired, and so I started watching dumb TV and like dating some like, I can't even remember the name of it. Perfect Match, it was called. And it was interesting because I saw these girls be there, like these beautiful girls who just self-sabotaged and were just like coming from this place of doubt and this place of, instead of walking in the room and knowing that they were who they were, which were these accomplished people who happened to look very lovely also. But they were, and the British Baking Show, another one I watch um, they're their worst critics. Like, they start to get in their head and they start to, like, they're baking and they're like, and then you watch them devolve, and you can see them devolving going into it. Even like, they're like, oh, I hope it's not this, and I hope it's not that, and I don't have this ready. And then the other person's like, whatever the challenge is. So in coming from that place of watching those things, I think, you my I recognize it now a little more, and like how people self-sabotage and how you create your own scenario of whatever the bad is, whatever you think is going to defeat you, those kind of things. So on a daily basis, I'm in hospitality, and I've had to change my perspective. Sometimes it's hard, and there's like a lot of people with a lot of wants, and you're trying to make everybody happy, and you're not always going to make everybody happy, but coming from a place of how lucky I am rather than how you know, annoyed I am with some of that. Just, changing the perspective daily of what that looks like and why I'm, it's just I can walk around and be burdened by it and tired of them, or I can, be very grateful that they're still coming and that people are happy here and that we do that. So the self-sabotage piece, as far as affecting how we value ourselves and what we bring to the table, it's all like we're creating this whole story of whatever it is, right? Like, so I've been working with Michael, my husband, trying to also, this is how lucky and fortunate that you have these 90 things on your plate, because otherwise, I don't know. Anyway, now we're just talking.
I'll ask you the next question, but I guess I want to really point out something that really stuck for me, what you've been sharing, because
Okay.
it's so like apropos in my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the value, and then suddenly the it seems to me like the true loss of knowing our own value is when we suddenly make it external, like what we're doing or how someone else is behaving, or and we don't really have any value. Am I saying anything that sort of resonates with what you were trying to share, or how do you?
I think it just all goes back kind of to our own perspective and how if we can own that, take that back to ourselves and not let other people determine that. And I couldn't have had it really as a 19-year-old person because I hadn't recognized it yet. And regardless of what was happening around me, but if I would have at 19 just been confident to not care about that and what other people thought and how I was, being perceived, and just kind of held it to myself.
Okay. I like it.
Am I answering you? I feel like I'm taking you down rabbit holes as if we were talking on the phone, and
yeah, just no. I think we're saying the same thing, which is in two slightly different ways, but basically yes, like it's an intrinsic value that we set the barometer for. We decide that this is enough. I am enough.
Literally. Right. So take me back to the original question. Let me see where I was going with that.
What did I learn way too late?
Way too late. Yeah. Okay.
Which was a great answer. That you have value. You walk in a room and you have value.
Way too late. Way too late. I mean, the whole time I worked, I don't even think I felt like I was just trying to, in my whole career, just faking it and not really knowing that I was bringing what I owe that to the table.
Which is funny to hear. Yeah, which is funny to hear you say that, because as I know you and as someone who is so capable and so powerful and so in her place and like has so much to offer, I just think, wow, you were faking it. Like you weren't really faking it. So I was like, you weren't faking it. Like you were really good, but you didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Sort of like
it felt like imposter was doing their very best to walk into the room and
But no, it was real.
Well, now it feels real. So,
It's like you like hooked some two parts together.
Right.
You plugged in.
And I was there the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like you were always that to me, even if you didn't know it on the outside. I would never have said you were faking it.
Yeah. I tell Michael all the time, I'm introverted. He's like, you are not introverted. I'm like, I am though. I fake it when I'm out and where so that's still a thing. But
I have to say what's interesting is introverted people tend to be the ones saying yes to the podcast.
Oh, interesting.
And I wonder if it's like because we're okay with one-on-one intimacy, right? Not always. Not
much more.
Yeah. where, some of the extroverts are like, I just don't know if I'd be comfortable. And I'd be like, what do you mean? You're a showboat all the
Yeah.
time. So, yeah. Well, thank you
Interesting. I
for
can't
being.
wait to hear other people.
Okay, question number 2.
Yes.
All right. What am I learning now?
Ooh,
So what are you in the
interesting.
process
I
of?
need to be, I mean, I think I'm very curious and I'm not necessarily learning it, but my curiosity is like what's next as far as my spiritual um, advancement,
Hmm.
like spending some time with some of those things. I need to just look at your face and not mine.
Just so you know, I literally have a piece of paper on my side of the
You
screen.
do? I'm going to
Oh
try
yeah.
that.
So I
I don't want to see
cannot,
my face.
because it's very
Yeah, there we
distracting.
go.
I'm like, what did I just do? And I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
care. I
I make
literally
I make
just,
weird
I
gestures,
just did
and
it.
especially when I look at myself, I do it again, even worse.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think I'm very curious. We have this going on in our country. Some of the religious right that it's just advancing to a way they're so fervent and they believe so hard in some of these things, and I don't know what I believe in and what I am advancing to. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Kind of like I'm just trying to, you know, raise the way that I was raised. I know some of the things I've had to shed as far as some of the brainwashing that I had. And I don't know what's, so I feel like that's what I have to learn, not to be afraid of, and I'm not, just of what's next. And, that's where we're all going to be. Um, so
Well, I would say not being afraid of what's next is a pretty big accomplishment, because I can often be a little bit on my heels, like, well, I wonder what's next, you know.
yeah.
So kudos to you for being so like open arms, open hearted. What's next?
What's next? Like what
Open
kind of
mind.
powers? Yeah. And I may have simplified that really, but that's.
I like it. I like it. Okay, question number 3. It's my favorite one.
Okay.
I think
No
it
pressure.
says I think it says a lot about. Can you hear me? Am I talking too soft?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wanted to get closer because you got closer. So,
Okay. My favorite question.
yeah.
Okay. When I pass onward, what do I hope is my final thought?
Ah, interesting.
And I'll tell you more about this question after you answer it.
What
But
do I hope is my final
final
thought?
thought. Yeah.
My gosh. Well, I've had, and so I said, my last answer was, what, as I look to death really, or to the next thing. And I had an experience recently where I, felt I was sleeping and I was dreaming and I can't tell you exactly what happened, but I felt like a pressure and a weight on my chest. And I felt like it was my last breaths. Weird. And I thought to myself, this is how it feels when like every human has this feeling, right? Like everyone has that thought. You would think everyone has that, just to look, whatever, whether that last realization, like this is it. And I didn't think about what I would be thinking. I just, in my mind, I thought, that's what it is. It's gone. I'm gone. So that's not what I would hope, I think. But I did wake up feeling like, oh my gosh, that's a universal thing. Like we all have that, like, last breath. And my thoughts on that would be, I would hope I could just be at peace. And I would hope a last thought would be, thank you. Like, thank you. Like you would be at peace. That's what I would hope.
Love that.
And it wouldn't be like, no, not now.
Dishes are dirty.
Oh my gosh, all of that. Yeah, no, I just hope you would just be grateful and be able to. I mean, ideally, whether it's a slow kind of thing or if it's a fast thing, um, I hope you have time to do that.
So I'll tell you where that question came from.
Yeah.
In the meditation practice I do, in the Vipassana that I've done for many, many years.
Yes.
In it, there's the belief, and there's probably this belief in others, but in it, there's the belief that the last thought you have in this lifetime is sort of the impetus or sort of the wave that takes you into the next one. And
Okay.
they're always part of it is coaching you to be present and be aware so that whenever that moment comes and you're having your last breath, that you can choose the thought you want to have
Yeah.
so that you
That's
ride that wave into your next whatever happens after that. And so I have always, as you've known, you knew me right after I got really sick. Mine has always been joy. So I've always thought, well, if I could have more joy in my next life, that's what I was striving. I'm
that's a
striving.
good reminder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I asked that one. I love your dream. I think that was such a huge gift. I think death is an enormously overlooked gift.
Yes. It's
And
very curious.
you got to open part of that.
Yeah. And I hate I'm taking that off now because I'm looking at the purse. Very curious.
Yeah, yeah. So I think anytime we have the chance to approach death and still remain in this incarnation,
Uh-huh.
I think we bring back more wisdom than we may initially realize.
I think the part that is uncomfortable for me there is that foreboding. Like, what is it something that that I'm telling myself is coming and preparing myself for that? And so that's very uncomfortable. I'm not ready for that, Shelley.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well, but that's the gift is that
yeah,
you or I could be done after this call. That is
right.
100% true.
Amazing. I
Right?
know that's not,
So,
um, we're curiously, I'm turning 55 right in November, and I always look for something fun to do and something I haven't done before. And we're going to Oaxaca, and we're going to celebrate Dia de los Muertos for my birthday. So, and we're doing we're doing some overnight little activities where we're going to do some traditional kind of ceremonies, and looking
oh,
forward to even
wow.
more of that, right?
Yeah. That's
And
okay. I can't wait to hear. Okay, you come
right,
back. You come back after
yes,
and share what you learned.
yes.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting that it all kind of aligns to that topic. So it
Mhm.
was it was nice being here. And
Nice being here. Well, the other thing I would say is there have been a few times in my life where I have felt very close to death. Um, and it was in a sense I realized after where I was pretty sure I was going to die. And I realized after that I did, but I was still alive. Like it literally was the death rebirth cycle
okay,
in one incarnation. So I'll be curious to see in a few weeks or a few months if you're like, oh yeah, I did go through a death rebirth as,
interesting.
as Carrie.
Yes. Okay.
I want to hear back.
Yes. I had an experience with that, and I'm going to just tell you this. We with my daughter, and we'd gone on this great big hike, and we were in Seattle, and she moved there during COVID, and so I was visiting her. This was 2 years ago, last summer, and we'd done this beautiful hike, and we were in our tents, and we had just this little amounts of mushrooms, and we were laying around, and I closed my eyes, and I just had this like I went in front of this group of people, and I said, I didn't come here to feel loss. I didn't come here to have hurts. If that's what is set for me, I want to go. I'm done. I'm going to go.
Oh,
And they
wow.
were laughing at me, and they thought that was the most funny thing. And it was really traumatic, super traumatic. And I felt like I definitely was making a case, and it wasn't going anywhere. And it came from a place of missing my daughter and worrying about her and having this, like, something happened to her, what would I do? Like, and she's so far away. And I was carrying that all week, kind of worrying about her by herself. And then we went on this little trip, and I immediately went to this jury. And I was very adamant that I didn't come here for this, any sort of that. And, I was kind of smacked down. I came back really, really upset.
Oh, wow.
And it took me a few days to realize, you're right. You silly girl. What did you think you were? Yeah. Anyway, I wasn't going to share that story, but it's kind of it fits in with the whole thing, as far as just preparing us, and that the universe doesn't owe us anything.
Oh my gosh.
And then it reminded me, there's a poem by Stephen Crane, right, that says, the man said to the universe, I exist. And the universe said, "What?" Okay, doesn't matter. And it means nothing to me, really. I don't know the exact words, but it was like, and it's okay. It doesn't matter. So,
I don't know why, but it's kind of what you're saying right now is kind of like tickling in the back of my head where we started, where we have value. It kind of just goes to show we have value in being, because we don't have a lot of say how everything.
Right. We're not owed anything.
Mm-hmm. We're just given the beingness.
I'm seeing something weird go by. Right.
Yeah. Did you? Oh,
yeah. Did someone fly by? A bird? I mean, I am outside the window. Something. We'll have to replay that. Maybe it was something bad. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Okay. So
keep going. I'm just kidding.
So I have one last question.
Oh, and you do?
Well, this one is for you.
Okay.
So is there a question that you think would be very interesting to ask?
That I think would be very interesting to ask. Well, I think your questions are very interesting, as far as opening somebody up and getting some Shelley, I'm not prepared for that question.
That's okay.
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I think that you know, and I, taking it from there, if I could ask, goodness, yeah, I think it's hard to beat what you've already put out there.
Okay.
Really?
I just like to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was.
I'll think about it later for sure. No, I'm sorry. I don't know if you heard somebody's knocking at my door. I just ignored them.
No. But I was going to say you just saved yourself another question, because I was just going to turn what you said back on you.
Oh, you were? See?
You're like,
I know your ways. Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on and sharing stories and sharing the stuff. And I have to say, we touched on two specific things, which I think are just universally important, and that is intrinsically knowing your value, which is the first thing you touched on, and then understanding death. Yeah. And every one of us will take a last breath.
Right. Yes.
Single one of us. And
well, I hope you don't replay this in 4 weeks when it's me, and you can say, "See, look at her. She." No,
I do. I am highly curious, and I am a little bit suspect that you might come back here and say, I literally went through a death rebirth, and a big part of me died. and I'm behaving in a different way, and I'm, engaging with life in a different way. So, yeah. And I think
Interesting.
that alone is such an important, death is not, there's not just one death, I think there are many deaths throughout a lifetime, our own and others. And obviously there is one big, seemingly
Final.
final death,
Right.
but there are many traditions that say that's not it. It's just a doorway to something else. So that's for each of us to decide. But, all right. Any last words? Anything you would want to share or want people to know? Or
I think I think you got more out of me than I was thinking I was going to give you.
I wasn't trying to
I
take.
know I did it. I did it all myself. Love
Well,
seeing your
fabulous.
face. It's fun. It's been fun to talk.
I know it's been lovely. So, and to our audience, thank you for joining us. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did staying here with Carrie and learning from her. And take care of yourself. I love you, dear.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.